Senator John Kennedy. He joins us on the phone from D.C. Good morning, Senator. How are you?
Morning, guys. How are you?
We're doing great, but we're wondering, okay, so Mark Zuckerberg said his information was compromised, and we've been looking for the little notes. Boy, you had a lot of things to say this week, didn't you?
Well, it was an interesting hearing. I mean, I really don't want to have to vote to regulate Facebook.
Yeah.
I will, but I don't want to. I appreciate Mr. Zuckerberg coming. I was a little disappointed in the hearing. I didn't feel like he'd been well coached, and I didn't feel like we were connecting as well as we should or communicating. I mean, I think Facebook is a fine, wonderful American company. It's done a lot of good, connected a lot of people in the world. But there are some problems that we have discovered in the digital utopia, and they've got to be addressed. One is the privacy problem. How is Facebook protecting our data? In some cases, they're not, and they have an enormous amount of data and information on each of us. If you use Facebook, I mean, I do. Most elected officials do. They know more about me than me. The other problem is how do we stop propaganda on the internet, but specifically Facebook. But that leads into maybe an even more important issue. You know, what's propaganda?
Yeah.
I don't want what I see on the internet to be censored. But at the same time, if somebody as you know, we have a big problem in Myanmar, in Southeast Asia, used to be called Burma.
Mm-hmm.
There's basically a genocide going on with respect to part of the population there, the Rohingyas, and some people who are encouraging that all of the Rohingyas should be killed are using Facebook.
Yeah.
So, you know, you don't want to let people do that.
So I guess
you shouldn't be able to go on Facebook and say kill all the Rohingyas. You know?
Yeah.
The thing that I think a lot of people have either a hard time understanding or want to make sure that you guys in D.C. understand is that it's a two-pronged issue. You're talking about the data and the privacy issue is one thing. Yes, they should be held to a standard because so many people are involved in it and everything else. And maybe it does need federal regulation. Maybe so. The other side is the political side. And, you know, we've talked about it before on the show. One of the radio shows I love to follow just because I like his style and I like his message often and different things is Herman Cain, okay? Yesterday, Herman Cain made the point. Yeah, Herman Cain made the point that Facebook can do whatever it wants. They can censor conservative content. They can show you what they want because the American public is not forced to use Facebook. And if you don't like that, you don't have to use Facebook. So what would you say to that side of it?
Well, what I would say to that is that there are certain entities, and first, you know, Mr. Cain makes a very valid point, but there are certain entities out there in the world, in American society, I'll say, that I hesitate to call them necessities, but they're ubiquitous. I mean, we all use them. Mm-hmm. For example, electricity. Now, I don't have to contract. My company is, like the power company back in Louisiana, is Clico. I don't have to contract Clico. It's a free company. I can say to heck with them. But I really need electricity.
Yeah.
Cable, you know. I mean, we all fuss about cable, but it's expensive and all that. But, you know, you get used to it.
But you can pick with cable. There are multiple different companies, you know.
In some cases there are, but in some areas there's only one. And I'm not saying Facebook is there yet, but there's no question that Facebook has 2 billion users. It does a lot of good. People like it. Many people like it. I'm told some folks have left it to join other services, but Facebook really doesn't have any competition. And my response is, okay, Facebook, you know we have these 2 problems. Don't let government tell you how to fix them. You come back and tell us how we ought to fix them. And that's where I'm trying to go with this. Mm-hmm. But Mr. Zuckerberg, he's very bright, and I don't know, I just didn't feel like we connected.
So
I just thought his attitude, I know what he said, but his attitude was a little bit about sort of like, look, I'm smarter than you, which he is, at least me, and I'm don't worry about it. Well, I'm not. Sometimes the honor system works, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, they kicked off Diamond and Silk. I mean, people like to watch them, whether they agreed with them or not.
Because I looked yesterday, they're there, yeah.
They're back now. But why would you kick off somebody who just wants to, I mean, you may not like what they say, but they're not saying, I don't know.
So I wanted to ask him, I ran out of time, but there was a statement by the former media analytics director for President Obama's reelection campaign in 2012, where she told the New York Post, hey, we work with Facebook because they were with us. They told us we're for you. We want the president to be reelected. And I went,
the Facebook data, it was nothing new. I think that, there are entities out there who are looking so closely into how and trying to explain how Trump was elected that they came across it. But it was done in 2008. It was done in 2012. It's on camera everywhere. I want to ask you this, Senator.
President Obama's team pioneered it.
Yeah.
They were the first Cambridge Analytica, if you will. I'm not saying they broke the law, but in terms of the data mining and using the data from Facebook, and Facebook apparently did cooperate. And according to President Obama's campaign, Facebook was on their side politically.
Okay.
That gives me pause.
So I want to ask you, because it kind of opens up the can of worms. Facebook is only a percentage of all this. Because Google does it. We know Google scans email. I get suggested emails, suggested products about things I've emailed people about. We know what happens. We know what happens across the entire Internet. Does this push lawmakers to, make some sort of privacy regulations for the Internet as a whole? Because Facebook is just the most public part of it, but it's been going on for years.
That's a really valid point. I mean, anything we do, we have to be fair about it. It has to apply not just to Facebook, but to Google, to LinkedIn, to Twitter, to the other social media platforms. But getting back to Mr. Kane's point, something you just said really, I thought, hit the nail on the head. I mean, imagine trying to go a day without using Google.
Yeah.
I mean, I use it all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's wonderful. I mean, I can remember the old days where if you wanted to research an issue, you had to go to the library. Now I can just go
the
to my
Dewey
iPad.
Decimal System.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what I mean. These companies are all American companies. They've done enormous good, but we've got to be concerned about how they're using the data, and we've got to address this issue of, okay, what can you put on these social media platforms? What can our kids see, and what can't they see without violating anybody's First Amendment rights? And it's tough.
So let me ask you, there has been a lot of discussion among the political circles in Louisiana that you are considering a run for governor. So we'd like to know and hear it from you and get your thoughts on what you're thinking at this point.
Well, I am considering it, and I'm considering it very seriously. I have not made a decision. Don't have a timetable for it. I'll know it in my gut. I know that's not very specific, but that's the truth. If I decide it's something that I want to do and that I think will help my state, I'll do it. I won't some suggested, well, you need to hurry up because so-and-so might run and so-and-so. And, my response is, look, I believe in competition. I just ran for the U.S. Senate a couple of years ago against 14 people. And so, if you want to run for governor, go run for governor. That won't affect my decision. If I decide it's something I want to do and should do. But I'm not there yet. The race is still a long ways away, Bernie. In Louisiana, we like our politics and we like our football and we like our hunting and our fishing and we like to talk about them. But it's a little early. I will say I don't mean this in an ugly way. I don't think Governor Edwards has been a very effective governor. I can't really put my finger on anything he's accomplished other than just, whining for more money. And, when you add up all we pay the government, state, local, federal, government taxes, the food we eat, the clothes we wear, the cars we drive, the houses we move in, government taxes is when we work, taxes is when we play, taxes is when we die. I mean, how much more should people have to pay?
And maybe with everything we pay, if everything was perfect, no one would care. But we pay so much, and we still have problems. We can't get a budget passed right now.
I mean, we're spending we're spending 43% of our $30 billion budget, which just a few years ago was $16 billion. 43% on Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, are people getting better? No, they seem to be getting sicker. So maybe it's not how much money we're spending, it's how we're spending the money. And the governor just doesn't seem interested in that. His attitude seems to be, if all of y'all, his attitude seems to be, I'm a smart guy, and he is. And if all of y'all would just give me your money, I can make the decisions for you. And I just don't believe that. I trust people to spend the money they earn better than government. And I'm not a fan of his prisoner release program. I don't have any confidence in our Department of Corrections. I'm sorry to just have to say that, but I think the fact that the FBI is swarming all over the place bears out the truth of what I'm suggesting. And this idea of, I think they're going to get somebody killed. I hope I'm dead wrong on that, but they're letting dangerous prisoners go, just to satisfy the bleeding heart liberals. The DAs don't like it. They're against it. The sheriffs are against it. Some of them are scared to say something because the governor controls their money. But if you go talk to them privately, they will tell you this is a really, really dangerous thing to do, and he seems obsessed with it, and I just think it's a mistake. I mean, people are not if you're in Angola, you're not there for going to Sunday school. It's just that simple. And I don't know why there are people in the world like that, but there's some people who aren't sick, they're not confused. It's not a question that their mama or daddy didn't love them enough. They're just evil, and they've got to be separated from the rest of society.
There are a lot of complex issues, and I want to thank you for being, upfront with us about the fact that you're just still kind of in the looking into it phase, if you will. I want to thank you for your thoughts this morning on going a little bit deeper into the Zuckerberg discussion. So, Senator, thank you.
I'll tell you this much, though, Bernie. God, I miss Louisiana.
I'll bet.
I'm sitting here in Washington, D.C., and I'm about to head to the office, and it's kind of like la-la land up here. These people don't get it. They don't get it. They need to come spend some time in my state and talk to real people, man.
I have to ask you this because I covered Congress for a few years in my former life. And yes, and I will tell you, I have to ask you this, now that you've been there, for some time, that the first thing that a veteran reporter told me is, Rob, you have to remember sometimes and remind yourself who the Democrats are and who the Republicans are, because when you're in D.C., it's all the same. To the folks back home, yes, you stand by your convictions one way or the other. However, when you're all there, look, you go to the cocktail parties, you go to everything. I'm not accusing you of doing that, but I'm saying some of the lifelong lawmakers that are there, they all just kind of blend in. It's all the same flavor ice cream,
It's easy to get sucked in, Bob, and I am determined not to do it. I don't go to the embassy parties at night. When I'm done with work, I come home. I either go work out, exercise, and then I come home and I read. I'm not a big party animal. I'm not putting anybody down who is. But happy hour for me is a nap, man. I'm not interested in all that. But you do have to be careful because it can get very clubby. But it's been like that throughout my career, and for better or worse, I've always played outside the pocket. And sometimes my colleagues agree with me, and sometimes they don't. But I don't represent them. I represent my people.
All right.
And by God, that's what I'm going to keep doing.
Well, we are going to let you go. Thank you so much for such a frank conversation, and And we'll hold you to the fact you didn't say this, but we'll be the first to know when you decide.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Let's do this again.
Okay, that sounds good. And make sure we're number one whenever you decide. Just take out your book, close it, put the bookmark in.
Go to an embassy party.
Senator, thank you so much.
Guys.